So at Raising Superstars, we differentiate languages of intelligence into two parts, right? So the caveman languages of intelligence and the modern languages of intelligence. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Prodigy Show. I hope you guys are excited about today. Thanks for all the comments and all the love that you guys have been giving us. Today I want to ask you a question. What does it take to move a mountain? What does it take? How much effort does it take to move a mountain? I know it's sort of a strange question. So let me tell you the context with which I asked this question, right? So you guys know that at Raising Superstars, we promote our 5 minutes a day system for your babies, right? So what we say is that with just 5 minutes of efforts on a daily basis, you can actually awaken your baby's unconscious genius and help them lead a life of health, wealth and happiness, right? And the first time that people think about it, they sort of are skeptical, right? So they're like, okay, how can it actually happen in just 5 minutes a day? 5 minutes a day just sounds so little, right? And that's what I want to address today. That's what I want to talk about. And I want to tell you how powerful those 5 minutes every single day with your baby are. So let's try to understand this. So suppose you and I, suppose we adults, we wanted to work at a stretch for a long period of time, right? So we want to sit at a desk, get all our work and start working. How long do you think we can go at a stretch and continue to work? Probably a few hours, right? So at least a few hours we could just sit on the desk, on a chair and go on working without any disturbance, without any sort of interruption, right? And we should be okay, we would not be tired, right? Now, how about the same kind of thing if it was being done by like a 10-year-old boy, right? So if a 10-year-old boy was sitting at a desk and working, he would probably get restless in about 45 minutes to an hour. So he would probably go for an hour and then get tired and would have that urge and the need to play, right? Now, an adult can do it for a few hours, a 10-year-old boy can do it for say 45 minutes. Now, bring it down to say a 4-year-old child. How long do you think that a 4-year-old child can do it? Maybe about 15 minutes, 15-20 minutes, and then they get tired and they want to do something else. Now, bring it down again to the level of a baby, right? How long do you think a baby can go with doing the same activity? What is the longest that they can do it? Maybe a few seconds, maybe half a minute or so, right? And they would get tired. So what we are trying to say is that even a 30-second activity for your baby is the same as a 10-year-old boy putting in 30 minutes of effort into any task, right? And that's the amount of learning that is happening for your baby. And in 5 minutes a day, your baby is doing 7 to 8 different activities across multiple sessions. So they are actually developing tremendous amount of skills and knowledge and also expending their energy in a playful manner, in a fun manner, where they're enjoying but also developing their abilities. So let's see how this 5 minutes a day system, how does it actually work? How does it help in developing all of these amazing abilities in our babies, in athleticism, intelligence, memory, creativity, music, all of those wonderful things, right? Now, what happens is a little known concept called the power of compounding, right? So power of compounding, how does this really work? So if you see, if you put 1 unit of effort every single day, right? So you put 1 unit of effort today, 1 unit tomorrow, 1 unit day after, every single day for the entire year, right? So what happens? You get 1 times for 365 days. Now, what if you just increase the effort just by a little bit, by maybe like 1%, right? So the amount of effort that you're putting on a daily basis is not 1 now, but it's 1.01. So 1% more, right? What is the result that you get now, right? So 1.01 times 1.01 times 1.01, and you do it for 365 days and you get a result of 37. So it's 37 times more than the normal results that you would get with just 1 unit of effort every day. So what we are trying to say is that with just a little bit of extra effort, we are able to get a result which is 3600% more than the average, right? And that is the power of compounding. That is the power of compounding, wherein you take little by little and you are able to create a force which is so powerful, so big, so tremendous. And that is what we are able to achieve with 5 minutes of efforts with our babies every single day, because your baby is so fast in learning. They have such a fast, tremendous learning capacity that they are able to add on to whatever they have learned in the past with those 5 extra minutes that they get every single day, dedicated from their parents for their learning, right? Now, in the beginning of the video, I had asked you a very strange question, which was, what does it take to move a mountain? What does it take to move a mountain, right? And if you guys are ready, I am going to prove to you that you can actually do it with just a flick of a finger, right? And this will also show you what is the power of compounding. So you have a mountain, you want to move a mountain, and you can actually do it with just a flick of a finger. And if you want to see how, I'm going to show it to you right now. And all you have to do is, you have to take the finger and you just have to flick the finger, and there you will have your mountain falling down. And that is the power of compounding. That is the amount of force that you are able to create with just small units of effort on a consistent basis, on a daily basis, because the power, the force, the momentum is transferred from one day to the next, to the next, to the next, until it creates a powerful force, a force large enough that can even move mountains. And that is what we are able to do with just 5 minutes of efforts on a daily basis with our babies in different areas like athleticism, music, creativity, intelligence, memory, languages, reading, and personality and character development. And when we do it for 5 minutes every day, all of the learnings from the past days are carried forward, and it just becomes a huge snowball effect where your baby learns so much that they are able to finally awaken their unconscious genius and their hidden potential and abilities that they were born with. So I hope you guys are now convinced that with just 5 minutes of efforts, it is possible to do the impossible and for your baby to be able to explore their miraculous abilities that they were born with. Now, let's move on to our next segment. So the first question of this week is, why do we want to teach our babies anything at all at this age, right? So the age group that we are talking about is, of course, 0 to 3 years. To answer this question, let me ask you this. Suppose you as an adult male or adult female, if you were in your house all day long with the comfort of your environment, your house, your home, well fed, well rested, all the comforts, right? But with nothing to do, You have nothing to do, no sort of work, no job. How would you feel? Would it be enough to be just comfortably alive? No, right? You would get frustrated, you would get bored out of your mind, right? With no sense of purpose in life, right? That is because all of us, the entire human race, need this desire, sense of purpose, right? We need to do something, we need to crave something, whether it's love, whether it's happiness, whether it's just some goals, some ambitions. And it's the same with our babies as well. When babies are born, they're born so helpless and vulnerable, right? They're not able to do anything on their own. And they're so dependent on their parents for all of their needs, right? They have a deep craving, deep desire to become independent, to become like their parents and to be able to do things on their own, right? And when we say that you should spend 5 minutes a day with your baby, teaching them, helping them develop their abilities, this is the craving, this is the desire that we are fulfilling in our babies. And they will have that sense of purpose because they look forward to spending those 5 minutes, 5 prodigy minutes with you, their parent, and they will enjoy the playtime activities that you do, but also learn and grow and develop all of their mental and physical and creative abilities in the process. So I hope that answers your question. We are not here to put any sort of stress or pressure on our babies or on our parents, right? We don't have to stress out at all. We are not here to meet any milestones or goals or any sort of checklist. What we want to do is we want to encourage all parents to spend 5 minutes a day with their babies to fulfill their own baby's deepest desire to be able to learn and develop and grow, and it takes only 5 minutes a day. Okay guys, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so the next question that we have for this week is, what skills should you focus on for your 0 to 2 year old baby? The first thing that we want to talk about is athleticism, right? Or the physical ability. Physical ability has 4 different types: strength, stamina, stability, and skills. And we want to focus on all 4, right? So for our babies, what we want to do is, first of all, develop the physical body, the physical abilities, right? And the first thing in physical abilities is mobility. We want our babies to start crawling and start walking as fast as possible. Some of our babies at Raising Superstars start crawling at even 3 months of age and start walking by the age of 8.5 to 9 months. Now, what are the advantages of being able to move as early as that? When your baby starts to move, when your baby becomes mobile, right, it gives a huge boost of confidence to them. So because they feel that they are now becoming more independent and therefore less dependent on adult supervision and on their parents. So it's a huge confidence booster, but also along with that, it's also great exercise because it develops all parts of their body, all the muscles in the body. So when they're crawling, when they're walking, they're exercising all parts of their body, right? And it also helps them expand their lung capacity. When the lung capacity expands, they take in more oxygen. When they take in more oxygen, the heart pumps more oxygenated blood into their brains, and it also stimulates their brain as well. So it's all connected, and it all starts with athleticism and mobility, right? So what we want you to do is to first of all focus on physical abilities of your baby. Once you have done that, once you are able to put together a program, a framework on how you want to develop your baby's physical abilities, then you can move on to lots of other stuff like music, creativity, languages, reading, math, etc., etc. We can also teach personality and character traits in our young babies. That's all possible. But these are the things that you would do. And of course, if you are interested in knowing how to do them, it's a detailed process. It's a step-by-step system that you can follow with us as well. If you would like to learn more, please click on the link below to sign up for one of our programs where we teach you in a detailed done-for-you system in 5 minutes every day what you can do with your baby. Okay, now moving on to the next question. The next question that we have here is, what is the difference between caveloys and modloys? So at Raising Superstars, we differentiate languages of intelligence into 2 parts, right? So the caveman languages of intelligence and the modern languages of intelligence. And what do we mean by that? So the caveman languages of intelligence are those aspects of our intelligence which has always been there with our human race, right? So for the last 200,000 years, it has always been there. It does not need to be learned. It does not need any sort of teaching. You would learn it in the natural course of things. So what are those things? So things like your physical abilities, right? So you would start to walk even if nobody taught you how to do that. The ability to make music, right? So the ability to bang with a stick and a stone, and you start banging and you create some sort of a beat, right? Or the ability to paint on walls. You could take some colored pigments and you could paint on the wall, and that is an ability that you don't necessarily need to go to a school for. So those are things that even our ancestral cavemen, they also knew, right? So those are the caveloys in the Raising Superstars framework. And what do we mean by modloys? Modloys are the modern languages of intelligence, those which you need to be taught. those that you need to learn. So what are these things? These are the spoken language. So whether you speak English or you speak Hindi or you speak Mandarin or any other language, that's something that you would not necessarily learn on your own unless you have been taught that, right? So the spoken word, the written word, right? So the ability to write in a script, that is something which is a modern language of intelligence. The ability to write music and read music. So the technical aspects of music, whether it's chords or scales, those are man-made, those are man-defined, and those again need to be learned, right? So that's the third thing. The fourth thing is mathematics, the beautiful language of mathematics. That is again something that needs to be learned, and it's not something that you would be born with, right? And of course, the language of photographs and videography, right? So in today's world, videography and photography have become so important, and they capture the physical world exactly how we see it from our eyes, right? And that is again something which is part of our modeloids. So that's the difference between the caveloids and the modeloids, the caveman languages of intelligence and the modern languages of intelligence. And of course, both are super important for our babies because they develop and stimulate different parts of their brains, and they develop different parts of their abilities and skills as well. At Raising Superstars, we focus on both, and in our 5-minute a day programs, we mix and match different activities to stimulate both caveloids and modeloids. So those are the questions for this week, and now let's move on to our next segment where we will be talking to one of our super parents, and let's see how her parenting journey has been like. Hey guys, so today we have Neha Jain joining us from Madurai in Tamil Nadu. She is the mother of a 2.3-year-old son who has become quite naughty these days, and Neha will tell us all about her parenting journey and what her son is up to these days. Hi Neha, welcome to the Prodigy Show, and thank you so much for giving us your time.
Hi. Thank you so much for welcoming.
How has your parenting journey been so far? How has the last 2 years been? Is it been a
A
challenge
roller
or
coaster ride.
roller coaster? So a lot of fun and a lot of challenges as well, I'm sure.
Completely, exactly.
I know that you told us he started going to play school already. So what is
Yes.
your routine like? What are the things that you do with him? How does your day go?
I have fixed routine for him. Morning school time, and as soon as he come back, he has a fruit juice and playtime. He loves enjoying in his jeep, which I take
Okay.
him on the road outside.
Yeah.
And then lunch time and sleeping time is there.
Yeah.
Everything is, I'm particular on timings,
Okay.
especially. I need
Okay.
everything done on time to time. Booster card session is in the evening for him, and he
Okay.
waits for it. He himself tell, yeah, let's go and see booster cards now. And
Yeah.
that is so nice to hear from him that he's been so interested in learning all these kind of new stuffs. And
Right.
literally before Raising Superstars, I had not done anything for him. I
Hmm.
didn't know anything actually, what to do, how to bring up a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
But I saw your ad on Facebook. Just
Yeah.
randomly, it was on my page, and I
Yeah.
just clicked on it. I was like, okay, let me try for 5 days
Yeah.
course. How is it?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah.
That was so interesting and so informative. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, let's continue. I shouldn't stop this anyhow. I should continue it for my child. I should do it anyhow. I
Yeah.
should complete it. It was
Yeah.
really nice. The show, the Raising Superstar, which you're doing for the newly parents, especially. I'm a new parent, and he's
Right.
the first child in our house after so many years. So
Right.
nobody knows what to do and what not to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Joining your program was really a big help of what to teach my child. It was really of
Yeah.
a big help. I mean, even small things have got so much of information for them. I
Right.
didn't realize it until and unless we came to know it through you.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for saying that. The point that you said about how all the little things they become so important, right?
So
Like all
exactly.
all of the reactions that you give to your child, they are processing it so fast. Like if they are saying something, the way you react, if you react in a harsh manner, if you react in a calm manner, it all makes a difference. Whether you are
It all
stopping
makes a
to
lot of
yeah,
difference.
whether you are stopping to listen to them, whether you are just like talking at them or talking with them, it all makes a
It
difference.
makes
And
a
all
lot of difference. Literally, it makes a lot of difference.
yeah, yeah. anything from your experience that prompted you to say, okay, I need something for my baby now that I am a parent?
Mostly I've heard elders talk, he's too small. What can he learn now?
Yeah, yeah,
Just let it go, let him grow up, and then you can,
right,
make him learn or something. But
yeah,
after listening to you, seeing your videos, I realized, no, this is the age for a child to learn everything.
yeah,
After growing up, it is easy. Okay, fine, he might learn. But right now, what I can do is only now, when he's young, I should teach him how much ever I can teach him, how much ever I can make him do things. Even now, the elders tell me, what will he learn? He's such a small kid. He's not going to learn it. I think it's okay. Let me do my part. Learning or not learning, it is on him.
yeah, exactly, right? Like, like you were saying earlier, he goes and says, I want to see the booster card, right? Because it's
Booster card,
not just
yeah.
about we trying to force them to learn anything. It's like our babies want it. They want to
Want to
learn because
learn,
they're so
exactly. They
curious
want to
about the
learn.
world. And I'm sure
Yeah.
that he's already proving his grandparents wrong by showing them what he is capable of.
We actually don't realize, that this booster card session or whatever activity we are doing, what impact it has on the child. We don't
Yeah,
get time to realize it.
yeah,
But as I know that I'm teaching him all these kind of steps and the small things which I get to realize, oh yeah, he is doing it this way because I've taught him this way. The others don't get to know that because it is done in a private session in his own room. Nobody
right.
comes to know what I'm doing exactly up here. So
Okay.
the grandparents don't realize it that okay, this
Yeah.
is the reason why he's doing this way.
Yeah. It actually, yesterday I was talking to somebody, some professor in like early childhood education, and we were just discussing, and he was also saying it's if you even if you're spending just 5 minutes a day with your baby, it's not about those 5 minutes, but the 5 minutes actually translates into your entire
All
24
day.
hours that all day that you are spending with your baby, because you start thinking in that manner, you start
Exactly.
noticing things, and it's just such a huge impact because it's not just the 5 minutes. Everything that you do
The
changes, like your
whole day.
mindset completely changes, right? Yeah,
Yeah, completely. When I read your ad, like 5 minutes, only you have to spend 5 minutes with your child in the whole day. Like 5 minutes is nothing. That will just
yeah.
go off like that. And when I came to know about your program, I was continuing. I was like giving 5 minutes to the child also, it takes the whole day routine.
Thanks so much, Neha, for joining us. If you have any last comments for us, for me, or for our viewers, please share, or otherwise,
I would
uh,
really request all the parents to join this program. It is very, very informative for a parent that the child that they come to know about what their child is going through, what all we can teach them at such a young age, and not that only after he grows big he can learn all those kind of things. He has to start it from now. So it is really a request. Whichever parent sees this, please do kindly join this program. It's very, very nice, very useful.
thank you so much, Neha. Thanks for sharing those kind words. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's really great, and hopefully we'll continue have a long journey in this.
Thank you. I hope the same, and I wish you so much happiness and all the best with Vardhan. Take care and
Thank you
stay
so
safe,
much.
please.
Give my
Thank you.
regards to Shraddha ma'am and to your son Prabal.
Okay, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. So that was Neha Jain joining us from Madurai, Tamil Nadu. She is the mother of Vardhan, who is 2 years plus. Thanks, Neha, for sharing your thoughts and comments. And now let's move on to the next segment. So a lot of you guys have been asking me how to introduce books and stories to your babies. So today's tips and tricks, we are going to talk all about storytelling, books, what are the things that you can do, what are the things that you can watch out for. So that's what we'll cover today. Now, storytelling and book reading, right? They come in two ways. The first way is when you are reading to your baby. So your baby's job is only to actively listen and maybe look at the books that you're reading from. The other way is when your baby starts to actually read from the book, right? So of course that's a more advanced thing that happens after your baby has gone through reading words and then sentences, phrases, and then of course the books, right? So today we will be focusing on the first part, which is when you are reading to your baby and your baby is just listening and developing their language skills, their vocabulary, as well as looking at some nice pictures on the books. Okay guys, so if you're ready, let's get started on the tips and tricks. So the first thing that we want to talk about is what kind of books should you select to read to your young baby, maybe even 0 to 2-year-old baby, right? What we want to do is you want to select books with hard pages. So the hardbound books, board books, or pages that are generally sturdy and not easy to tear, because your baby will of course get curious and they might try and tear off the pages, right? That's the first thing. Second thing, what you also want to do is you want to select books which are bright and colorful, because of course that will attract your baby's attention and they'll be more interested and more curious to know what's in the book. The third thing that you want to do is to also select books which have short sentences. So maybe about 5 to 6 words each and not long paragraphs, because it's difficult for your baby to concentrate and pay attention to long sentences and make sense of it, right? The next thing that you want to keep in mind is to have books which are very descriptive, right? So it could be descriptive in a visual sense where it's talking about colors and shapes, sizes, that kind of thing, or it can also be descriptive from an emotional point of view. So somebody is feeling sad, somebody is feeling happy, somebody is excited, because this also allows for you to be animated when you are reading to your baby, which makes it even more interesting for your baby. And my last tip in selecting your book is also to select books that have little bit of a sense of realism, right? So at that age, at the age of 0 to 2 especially, we don't want to read books where a pig is flying or an elephant is talking, because it just confuses the baby as they become older, because then they start to believe that these things are real. What we want to do is we want to keep it real. We want to focus on stories which have a sense of realism, where there are humans talking, humans exploring, and as they become slightly older and they understand that animals cannot really talk and elephants cannot really fly, then it is okay to have those kind of stories as well, because then it's actually funny for your baby to engage in those kind of stories. So I hope that makes sense. That's my first tip on how to actually choose what kind of storybooks to start reading for your baby, right? Now let's move on to tip number 2. Our tip number 2 is to keep each book reading session short and succinct, right? So we don't want to read to our babies for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, because they cannot focus their attention for so long. So even if you're reading for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, even a minute, right? That is absolutely okay, and it of course depends on your baby's age. So if your baby is very young, maybe about 3 to 4 months of age, you would be able to read to them only for 30 seconds. If your baby is slightly older, maybe 1.5 to 2 years of age, they could probably take in more longer minutes of story reading for them, right? So keep the lesson short and succinct as per your baby's age and ability, but you don't want to bore them and you don't want to tire them out either. Our tip number 3 is keep your sessions fresh. What does this mean? This means that we don't want you to repeat the same book again and again and again, right? Your baby will get bored and tired of listening to the same story if you do it too much and if you overdo it. Think about it. Even if you're watching your favorite movie, or even if you're reading your favorite novel or story, how many times can you do it again and again? You can't, right? You will get bored, you will get tired, and it will not be as fun anymore. It's the same with our babies. We don't want to feed them the same story, the same book over and over again. Because baby books are small, because the stories are short, we think that it just got over so quickly, so let's go over it again. And we repeat the same story multiple times, sometimes in the same session itself, right? That's usually not a good idea. Sometimes your babies might want you to repeat it, but usually your baby will get bored if you overdo it. So our advice here, our tip here is to keep it fresh by introducing new books from time to time. Tip number 4, use clear pronunciation. What does this mean? So sometimes we have a tendency to use baby speak, right? Baby language, baby pronunciation. We don't want you to do that. we want you to use clear pronunciation of each word that you speak in your baby's book, because otherwise it becomes very difficult for your baby to learn the wrong pronunciation and then unlearn it later as they grow older. So from the very beginning, we want them to learn the absolute correct pronunciation. No baby speak, no baby pronunciation when you're doing this activity. Tip number 5, as you're doing the book reading activity with your baby, whenever you're reading to them, make sure that you're looking into the eye of the baby and they're able to observe your face, observe your lip movements. This is super important because it helps your baby develop vocabulary as well as understand the pronunciation, and also over time develop language skills on how to speak the words that you're speaking to them. Of course, you cannot read the book and look at them at the same time, but what we would want you to do is to read it from the book and then say it out loud as you're looking at them eye to eye, so that they can observe and notice your lip movements on how each of the words are being formed as you speak it. Tip number 6, allow your baby to turn the pages if they want to, right? So if your baby is slightly older, if they have the ability, if you think that they will be able to turn the pages, especially if you're using board books, allow them to do that. It will make them feel like they're part of the process, they are involved in the book reading activity. It will also develop their finger muscles and their finger skills, right? So allow them to turn the pages, allow them to experience the curiosity of what comes on the next page as well, right? So that's our tip number 6. And let's move on to the last tip of the day. Tip number 7, use lots of gestures and expressions as you are reading your book to your baby, right? So we told you to use books which have a lot of descriptive language like visuals and emotions. Whenever you are coming across those words, be animated, use gestures, describe to your baby how it really feels to be excited, to be happy, to be sad, to be angry, right? And that will make it even more interesting for your baby, and they will start connecting what the word means to the actual gesture that you are trying to show it to them. So those are my 7 tips and tricks for the book reading activity for your baby. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like the video and please share it with a friend that you think it would be useful for. Please also share your comments. We love reading them. Hope you guys enjoyed this tip today, and stay tuned for more such tips. Do subscribe to our channel, Raising Superstars, and we will be bringing you lots and lots of tips and tricks, as well as information about early learning development and how to raise your baby to a lifetime of health, wealth and happiness. Stay tuned guys, take care, and I will see you again soon. All the best.